previously with the Quellists.
When he's looking at Tyrek, he's like, when you struck the killing blow on Gauntlet, a power passed into you that is going to help me find the rest of them. The way that they were forged so many years ago, the Warmasters and their siblings, they come in 2s and sometimes 3s. Helm and Quellists are very likely working somewhere in the Far East. Helm and her cunning mind are working on the smaller villages, while Quellists is providing them with a false sense of security to help lower their guard and attempting to likely stir up some kind of conflict. I don't know what, but something.
Tyrek, you speak of accumulating power, yet you let your friends take it from right in front of you. The small one slew Gauntlet, and the Azamar slew Pauldron. You didn't gain any of that power. The power passed to them.
It did, but there's other forms of power, and in the eyes of the people, I am the victor, and I am the one who killed them with my own hands.
But the healing does cause the crystal core in the head to glow a little bit. And that at that point, Rodney kind of breaks away from his conversation with Tyrek, and he walks over to you. He's like, What did you just do here? What are you doing?
We heard there was a unit here years ago by the name of Vambrace. He would have had some characteristics in common with Gauntlet, primarily the vivid, bright, lit eyes.
Bright eyes. That does ring a bell, but I'm having trouble placing it.
And you hear the town crier say, "Hear ye all, Raylene Kawahara has entered Edgemire and perished."
Okay, so let's see. You guys have come out on shore. You've made camp. Everything seems to be all right. You don't hear any sounds from Scuba Robot anymore. You're all wet. It's cold over here. There's everyone here would know that like there's this weird biome here in the eastern continent of Eodenton that actually freezes over at random. Some scholars postulate that this has to do with magical interference that comes from Elsira by way of like jet stream, if we wanted to get really technical about it, but it hasn't really been the towns that made like people who made towns here were people who were hardy folk, people who traveled this way a lot and found this particular piece of land to be challenging, and they liked that. So the towns of Windwan, Termekia, Urbeck, Ilfstrad, and Childrum, they're all... Oh, and Triftilg, I guess. That's kind of a little further east. These are all people who were born to be... what's the word I'm looking for? Not explorers, but pioneers. Tyrek, you've had plenty of contact with people like this. I think Mirrah would have even had a decent amount of contact with people like this during her time traveling. Smokey, you've at least heard tales of these people. Luke, you've absolutely heard of these people as well. And Goreguts, I'm sure that you've your time with your guild has seen many meals made in this area. It's not a strange area to you guys. And there's a part of you as the Quellists that feel a little bit at home here with people who like a challenge. And granted, you're only sitting on the outskirts of this right now. So anyway, I'm saying all that to say that it's a little chilly. So you've made a fire. Mirrah and Smokey, you guys have this sense that the Warforged that you were chasing before is not near. You have this like intuition that you guys are fine to make camp for the night. And Tyrek, in the middle of the night, everyone's asleep. You're feeling warm. You're feeling, maybe contented, maybe just happy that like you're out of the water. I don't know how Tyrek feels about water. But it's nice to be back on land, and nice to feel confident in your comrades' ability to sense this Warmaster and know that you guys are relatively safe. So you're spending your night making your runes, and as you pull the basalt crystal out to make some more inscriptions on it, as you are wont to do, there's a sound coming from the stone. And I'd like you to make a perception check, because even though you have a great passive perception, if you want to start listening to this, I just want to know how closely. Okay, that's perfect. So with a 15, you bring this stone up to your ear, and it sounds like the vibration is coming from inside of the basalt. So inside lies Gauntlet's brain. You hear a sound, but it's more of a vibration, and as you put this stone up closer to your head, you eventually touch it to your skull, and that's when you can hear it's speaking. And it says,
8 children woke. 8 children knew. How they found themselves here, none of them knew. Colors came to them then, colors into which they grew. These colors now and forever, the lot they drew. Within the colors, purpose they found. And in each the pathway, the children duty bound. Their father, dripped in red, gathered them around. His voice was what kept their feet to the ground.
and then it stops. Nothing else happens until nothing else happens for the rest of the night.
Okay.
I don't know if Tyrek wants to do anything with that shortly after, or wait till everyone's awake, or what, but that's the only odd thing that happens that night.
Okay. Yeah, I'll discuss it in the morning with everybody.
Okay, so morning comes, and Tyrek has told you all about this thing that's happened with Gauntlet's Brainstone. And actually, I'd like everybody to roll a insight check, not on Tyrek, but just like into this poem. And that even feels a little weird, because I'm 100% sure you guys all know exactly what this is talking about.
Do you think history, maybe? If we already...
Oh,
wait, no. You're saying we know in person.
Yeah, like you guys as the players 100% know exactly where I'm going with this.
That's 0 on history, so I'm gonna roll insight.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it's very clear. I'm sure Tyrek would have this figured out instantly, just considering where, like, the source of this thing. But Father dripped in red, that's a very clear sign to pointing towards Ryle Redstone.
Yeah.
Now, Mirrah, I think I'm tempted to have you and Smokey roll a second time, as you would have. I should have given you advantage on this. So go ahead and roll a second time. No, what?
We cleared our exhaustion, right? 'Cause we just
Hey, you did one better.
Yes, exhaustion levels are cleared at this point. Mirrah and Smokey have a particular connection with this, and there's when God, I'm stumbling over myself like what's his name? The kid. Have you ever had a dream that Tyrek mentions colors? That this thing spoke about colors, and immediately Mirrah thinks of black, and Smokey thinks of garnet, like red. Yes, that kid. And I want to say at this point it becomes abundantly clear that you two have a different connection because of the Warmasters that you have taken part in slaying.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's why you guys have a sense of where that one with purple glowing eyes that was under the water. Why you knew which route to take, kind of intuitively. Do you guys want to do anything with this at this moment, or like, are you guys just going to kind of keep going on through the pathways here?
So me, Chris, cannot remember the Warforged or the Warmasters that I can't remember the list of their names and can't find
Oh,
where I
yeah,
wrote
yeah.
it down last time.
Yes.
Could I get that again?
So you have Gauntlet with the garnet brain, dead by Smokey's hand. You know that there's a Helm and a Quellists and Pauldron with an anthracite brain killed by Mirrah. There's Grieve. I guess Helm have seen to have had purple eyes. You guys saw that. Nobody's got any information on Quellists. Grieve has green eyes. Boot has bright blue eyes. Vambrace have said to have had white blue eyes, and then Sabaton had like really bright red eyes. And at this point in time,
Did I miscount? Are there 9 in total?
Gauntlet, Helm, Quellists, Pauldron, Grieve, Boot, Vambrace, Sabaton.
Would there be some check Goreguts could think in his head about, like, if there's like some deeper meaning to the word colors, maybe that he read or something, probably from a cookbook? If there's any significance to that.
So this feels like it's very much like it's incomplete, like it's the first stanza of poetry or saga, which would make sense with other events that have happened in the area and their ongoing story bits.
It's also too short for something that Asa would write.
Because we do know from the past that their Warforged with different eye colors were like stronger somehow or something. Did we learn anything else about that?
I'm sorry, repeat that question.
We know Warforged with different eye colors, I guess, makes them pretty significant somehow. Do we know anything else about about eye colors and Warforged, if there's anything else to it?
Yeah, so the biggest thing was that the Warforged have glowing eyes. Like, that's just a thing. And their eyes can glow a range of colors. The thing that denoted the Warmasters was how bright their eyes were. And in the case of Pauldron, his eyes were so dark that it seemed to pull light in around it.
And who were we supposed to meet at the academy?
I think you guys wanted to go there to talk to the person in charge of the academy. I don't think there was anyone specifically you were there to meet.
I thought we were going off some rumor that some Warforged was going to show up there or something, or that he didn't want to fight.
Vambrace
Now you
potentially.
say that, I vaguely something remember that.
Is that Vambrace? Is that who we're trying to chase around or something?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, that's why we came up here.
Okay.
And I don't know if there was. I see. This is. I should have listened to the raw audio. That's my bad. I don't know if I had specifically said Vambrace was at the academy or was waiting for you at the academy. Just that you guys had talked to some other Warforged, and they had mentioned having seen a Warforged with bright, like, white eyes coming through.
Yeah, you never said he was up there. We were going up there because it seemed like the best place to check.
It seemed like one of them was trying to go, like, at least try to stop the fighting or something like that, or...
Yeah, I think Pauldron told you that when Tyrek did the, was it like the dream? Was it Dream or something? And created that, like, shared mind space with Pauldron to, like, try to convince him to work for you guys. And Pauldron was like, yeah, the only person who wants peace is Vambrace.
Used my special "this might kill me" ritual.
And I see, like, war, espionage, and false security. Are these all well-known, like, aspects of them that we know about or something?
I want to say that Vario, when you had spoken with him, because he's got, like, a special interest in revenge on the Warmasters, and he'd studied them for a while, and had mentioned that, like, Gauntlet, I think war, like, that seems pretty obvious, right? He was waging war.
Wasn't he like a cleric or something of the war domain or something? Or...
Yeah, he was. He was a Tempest cleric, I think.
Okay.
Vario was?
No, Gauntlet.
Oh, I was like, what?
No, Vario's a wild magic sorcerer.
These don't sound like all cleric domains unless it's
No.
something new I've never heard about.
I mean, I guess it's not like super. Is there anything you guys want to do here in camp, or are you planning on just kind of moving?
I would like to cook.
Do some cooking.
Yes.
What do you cook in there, Goreguts?
What's a frontier famous food out here?
Oh man. Okay, so
Tell me all about it, lore master.
You know that the Wandership nomads here. You can see a little representation I put on the map. That is not where they live. I just did it as a representation that they are a people of movement. Mirrah's performing breaking a stick. Oh. Okay, so the Wandership nomads are famous for their turtle shell soup, and a lot of people, when they first hear that, they think, oh, they serve soup in a turtle shell. No, they actually break the shell up and grind it into dust and make a soup out of the turtle shell. And it's very high in calcium and probably there's probably a lot of mercury in it too, but nobody really talks about that.
That doesn't sound good to me, but then I'm just an airsick lowlander, so...
Is that what turtle shells are really made out of?
I don't. Let me Google it. Turtle shell composition. Keratin. Yeah, just like your fingernails. Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. So like turtle shell soup, is a big thing.
I'll make that, but I'll put some carrots to balance out the keratin.
Carrots.
Yeah.
Amazing. Poor Squirtles.
No.
Yeah. So you make a pretty kick-ass turtle shell soup. That you, as you know, Goreguts is sure that would actually make the Wandership cooks very proud. Who's like the lookout, the scout right now?
Not me.
Around this time. Well, excuse me. Goreguts is cooking.
Wasn't that Smokey's job?
I was gonna say. Well, of course, whose job is it?
Smokey, you make a perception and a wow, am I really forgetting all the skills? Has it been that long since I played? Survival check. Excellent. As far as like the path into the frozen area, like I don't know if I want to call it that. That's a dumb name. But the path that goes like towards all these towns is very clear. So that's not really what you're looking for. But I will say that with that survival check, you can actually see signs that the Wandership nomads have passed through this area recently. And I say recently, I mean probably within the last like week or two. All right, so you guys have this turtle shell soup. It's awesome. There's some carrots, and I think Mirrah takes one to then make a snowman later. Yeah, you continue inland. You start heading on the pathway. It's really not long before you guys come up and you can see Windwan, the town. It's not very far off. It's also not very big. It's getting colder and colder the further east you go. I don't know how everyone does with cold, but like people who are less able to withstand it would be wishing for warmer clothes at this point. I'm sure you guys have that packed, considering you knew like potentially how far you'd be going. Would you like to stop in the town for the night or continue on?
Of Windwan?
Sacred Flame. Dexterity saving throw. Yes, you're coming up on Windwan there.
Do we know much about Windwan off the top of our heads?
So other than like the people who founded the town are like pioneer types. They're very about the roughing it lifestyle. And that's actually you could see that reflected in the way that the town is like constructed. They have wind barriers set up in the way that like they know where the big storms come from. It's kind of like there's like a lot of sparse things to do outside other than like your chores, grabbing wood and things like that. All the houses have, fireplaces, chimneys, stuff like that. I'm trying to describe like a pilgrim's town.
Yeah. I wouldn't be opposed to staying in a more sheltered spot for the night. We can create our own shelter however we want, but...
Were we on any kind of a time press or anything, or I can't think of any reason why we shouldn't be able to stay the night here?
That's a fair question. I don't know that I have a good answer for that.
I mean, we're hoping to find Vambrace before he leaves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We could ask around while we're in town if anyone's friendly and wants to offer any, but I don't know. I think if he knows we're pursuing him, I doubt he went into town and made himself be seen.
Yeah, we are. I suppose we are kind of time limited because we're trying to stop the Warmasters or persuade them to kill or stop them to stop Korg from attacking.
Yes.
Since it appears that he's going to attack everybody. So, like, even though we as the players know that that's not quite what's going to happen, our characters sure don't know that there's a different urgency behind what needs to happen. So as fun as dropping in and making Asa come up with a bunch of NPCs for us to talk to is, we probably should actually keep going through at least a decent chunk on.
But what if they had each unique accents and we're missing out on those?
Oh, so unique. I spent hours perfecting.
I say we drop into town. I think.
What if he's crumpling up 12 pieces of paper right now?
No, like, honestly, I'd say even passing through the town, like, people are very friendly. They're friendly in that way that's got, like, an asterisk next to it. Everyone's friendly, but is, they've got their... I'm trying to think of, like, the expression for it. They'll shake your hand, but they've got their other hand behind their back, like, potentially holding, a weapon for their own safety kind of a thing. That's, like, the attitude that everyone gives. Nobody's outwardly mean. Everyone's willing to, like, lend a hand. And I think probably a lot of people know who you are, despite living in an area that doesn't maybe get traveled a ton, although traveled enough to, since it is kind of like the main way, but like a lot of the cities in the East are very self-sustaining.
Word of mouth just travels fast over here.
Yeah. So, yeah, if Cook, God, really? Not Cook. Goreguts. How long have you been playing with Goreguts for? And I cannot get it right. If Goreguts were to inquire about putting in a gastromancy guild, or Mirrah starts doing outreach for the mantle, or if Tyrek was to talk about the Iron Vigil, I think probably people aren't very interested. They're not really interested in hearing about it.
Those assholes.
They're not interested in voting?
Man, if they had a bridge, I would throw them off it.
I want to say that, like, they would, if Goreguts really, like, pushes them on it, they're going to point towards, like, the Wandership Nomads as, like, hey, look, they come through enough that we have, like, our share of. We don't have enough going on here to like, justify putting in whole guild halls. That's kind of the attitude.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay progressing ahead without going to the town. I don't think I have.
Same here.
I don't have anything I'm invested in necessarily. So.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. Well, okay. So if that's the case, you continue on a little ways. You sit down and you make camp for the night. Again, nothing eventful happens. Smokey maybe just kind of with the general vibe of the town that you pass through, like the general vibe of the town that it was. Maybe you're kind of keeping extra eye back to your west. Just to ensure that, like, nobody's going to try to sneak up on you. Like, you're confident that if they know who you are, they wouldn't try that. So that night, everyone goes to bed. Tyrek stays up, and I'm going to read the next stanza of this document that I've typed up. Tyrek, once again, you hear a noise coming from the basalt crystal, and so you take it out, you press it to your skull, and you can hear the voice says,
Beyond their purpose, he gave them a goal, for glory and praise, to run their cups full. One word he told them, and oh, what a toll. Domination, he said, and their innocence he stole. Waking the forge, the whispers pushed him, the tentacles grabbed, the skull teeth shone grim. More children were made, though their colors would dim. Purpose they had none, no thoughts through which to swim.
How many people in the world can say they treat drinking water while they write poetry? I don't think there's that many people.
It was only about 80% at work that I wrote this, so, only 80% of the... And actually, my plant is offline right now, so I'm actually just sending water to the reservoirs. I'm not actually treating anything.
Again, I'll share it in the morning. That seems to be indicating a bit of influence beyond just, what was his name? Red and Korg in making them. It's about the tentacles and skulls. And
Okay, so yeah, the morning comes. Tyrek shares this with you. As you continue on, I'm sorry. Let me pause you. Is there anything you guys want to discuss or like look for or anything like that before I continue? So you guys continue on. You head east, not west, and you you pass through Termekia, much the same as Windwan. People they're not interested in they're happy to trade. They're happy to help if you guys have any supplies that you need. They're happy to take extra things off your plates. They'll listen to your stories if you stop to tell them long enough. But you're there within like a quarter day's hard march. And I don't say hard march as in like, oh, you guys are going to take exhaustion from this. But I just mean, you guys are used to moving at a pretty good clip. And with the five of you being who you are and like knowing, you all know your roles. And so you work very efficiently together. So marching through these areas is not particularly difficult. So you make really excellent time. It's much the same in Urbeck as well. You're actually able to make it there before the sun sets. People will trade. They're happy to listen. They're happy to help if they need to. They're not looking for outsiders, and that's kind of they don't want anything permanent, no permanent change. I think that's probably the best way I can describe their attitude. So even through the next 2 nights that you guys march through the day, you come, well, I guess, so at Urbeck, you come to a crossroads where you can continue on east, or you can travel and start to turn north. The signposts say that Hierogard and Kessenhall, as well as Packard's Rest, lay to the north, on the northern road. The sign that heads east says that you can reach Ilfstrad, Driftilg, and then it says Telandri, Toxendar, Galbadia, and the continent of Dilge lie that direction. Mirrah, make a Constitution saving throw. Interesting. Okay. Who's the lookout today, this morning? As you reach this.
Always good when the DM just says interesting and moves on.
Yes. Who's the lookout for this day as you're reaching? I guess who's in the lead? No, that's not true.
I'll be the lookout.
If you guys, okay, so Luke, make a perception check. What's your passive perception?
Front page. 15.
15. Okay. Yeah, make a perception check for me if you would. Okay. Yeah, everything seems fine. So you reach this crossroads. Would you like to travel north or east? And I want to say you guys know that Helm potentially lies at the Litchfork confluence.
It's written on the map.
In red, too.
Yeah, it should be purple, huh? I can't tell if that's my handwriting or not.
I think Smokey, is there any possibility of picking up signs of where they might have gone?
Well, I don't think. Let me put this in character.
Hmm.
As I'll kick at the snow that's just off of this well-beaten trail as I'm kind of demonstrating I'm out of my element, but I can try to investigate if that seems appropriate. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Make an investigation check and make it with advantage, please. So okay, I can say with 60% certainty that you're pretty sure that if you were to travel east, that's probably the direction you want to go. And I should mention that night when you camped, there was the basalt stone did nothing.
60% is a solid. I think it might be this way.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I would have uncovered on the road, but fellas, I got a feeling.
Okay, so you take the road east. You pass through Ilfstrad the next day, and you're able to march, and you get probably like, I don't know, I want to say you get fairly close into Triftilg, like you can see it in the distance, but it's pretty dark at that point, and what you're seeing is light coming through the windows.
You said, was it Ilfstrad? You said it looked like the town was dark from here?
You can see lights on, like it's dark enough outside that the only reason you know that you're close to Triftilg is because you can see lights on in their houses as they burn their fires.
Okay.
In their hearts.
Is the landscape changing over here? It looks like, is it like drylands or something, or?
Yeah, it's I will say it's beginning to warm up a little bit. Not a lot, but enough. And I love that you guys have a snowman representation of where you are.
It's moving. Just keep casting mend on it when it melts. Can we actually pick up that interesting kind of change of fauna to the south, or is that a bit beyond our eyes?
That's a little yeah, I don't, it's probably too dark right now to be able to tell.
Okay. No, that's fair. Okay.
From a distance. So I think this night when you guys lay down for bed, before you're actually asleep, Tyrek, you can feel that basalt crystal is
vibrating again.
And I guess I want to be a little bit more specific about this. This stanza that it repeats, it repeats a few times, right? So like if you were to sit there and listen to it, it would repeat the same thing a few times. Because obviously, like if it was in your pack and you didn't feel it vibrating, it would be weird if it just knew exactly when you began to listen to it. So
okay,
this time everyone's awake when this happens.
Yeah.
So you put it. I don't know. Are you gonna listen to it or?
I'm gonna see real quick what I can do. Do I have a way to? Trying to think if I have a. Well, yes, but I want to see if I can get at least one other person to listen to it too.
Just like stretch a skin over a can and hold it against the skin.
Wild the children were left to the world, one by one such pain they unfurled. Toward father's praise each of them hurled, to hold the zenith with fingers curled. At the start of their journey, things seemed fair. The fruits of their works they seemed not to care. Some of the children used the work like a prayer, and behind them lands they laid bare. Others of the eight held onto it like pride, influencing others, using those easy to guide. Their work was relentless, sweeping in like a tide. It was as smothering as one could abide.
Okay, so yeah, everybody gets to hear that particular bit. How does this all sit with you guys?
I feel like that bit didn't have much we don't already know.
Yeah.
Sure was nice to listen to, if a little anonymous.
Okay, so I think that night...
They start rapping to us.
See, I'm trying to figure out where in the timeline you guys are right about now. Mirrah, that night, you have a dream You have a dream about a town surrounded by a forest. In this dream, you can hear that song that you've dreamed about. But I want to say Mirrah's dreamed about the song before.
Jackal dreamed about a song. Mirrah played one on her violin without thinking about it.
That's right. Okay, so yeah, you dream of that song that you played. And as this song is happening, you see this town, this small little like kind of rural town surrounded by trees and like bear people and there's a large river.
They should put some clothes on.
Damn it, Siri.
Go ahead.
Go home. You're drunk.
Yes. The naked bear people. Yes, there's this weird feeling of peace as you see this town, and it's hard to like understand why you're seeing this town, but then you see the face of a half-elf man drinking from a large canteen, and as this song swells at some point, you feel like a rush of pride for this man, and then you see the town again, and then the dream kind of fades, and you wake up, and I would like you to make a Constitution saving throw.
Am I spying on liberators?
I don't know. Is it you? Or someone else, maybe. So, okay, yeah. You wake up, everything's fine. It's all normal, all very normal.
Constitution.
Yeah. Just Mirrah. Okay, so you guys wake up.
I was standing guard.
Oh, well, if you were, then make a perception check, please. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, everything's fine. Everything's normal. There's
Okay.
Nobody's coming from behind you. Nobody's coming up ahead of you. I love it. Okay, so yes, you guys pack up camp for the day and you get on the march, and eventually you come through Drifthilg. This town's a little bit different than the last couple, because while people are still very kind, it doesn't feel like anybody here is being... God, I'm like trying really hard to like temper my words here, because I don't mean to like, people in the previous towns, they have a reason to be protective while still like putting on airs of like being nice, right? There's reasons for that in rough country. Drifthilg, it doesn't feel like there's any of that, and I want to say duplicitousness, but I know that's a bad word for it. But you guys understand what I'm saying. It doesn't feel like there's an asterisk next to the part where
They're
they
not
say
mistrustful.
yes. Okay, yeah, that's a much better way of putting it. Yes, they don't feel mistrustful. They're a lot more receptive to the idea of potentially putting in like guild halls if you guys inquire about that.
I would not just yet, because it's a small town and don't want to spread too thin right away.
Very true. They do, however, ask you guys to stay a night in the town.
I'm not opposed to staying, but I am curious how come.
They mention that there's been some rough travelers on the road recently. And actually, roll an insight alongside that so I can figure out exactly how much information to give you.
All of us?
Let's say Tyrek, but I'll give him advantage if you guys assist with this. So let's just say Tyrek roll with advantage as the team assists you in like inquiring why they want you to stay.
I'll do that too.
Excellent.
So, 101.
Oh yeah, and then I'm sorry, do insight as well.
I meant to click on insight, not investigation. Sorry. Oh no, wisdom is
Excellent. Yes. Okay. So you ask around. You're like, okay, so how come you guys want me to want us to stay? Like, obviously, we're the Quellists, but not that you guys take your fame like that. There's talk of some rough riders on the roads recently, and then especially where they are. They also mentioned that times have been kind of hard for them because since the tidal wave that swept through off a little bit to the east and destroyed the towns of Talandri and flooded out Toxindar and stranded it, it's been a little bit harder for them to get trade because traders who come through from Theranos and even up from Hierogard, they have to pass through a couple other towns before they get to Triftilg, and now nobody's traveling this way. So they're kind of on their own, other than like if they send people out. But their location is a little bit more temperate, so it's harder to send people into the cold to come back with supplies. And so they're not necessarily looking for your supplies, but they're asking for like they want a little bit of help, kind of like in the next day. Just kind of standing watch, seeing if anyone's... And I think probably the reason given is that they potentially have traders coming back. So yeah, their biggest explanation is that they have a group of traders who are supposed to be coming in, and that they mentioned that the Wandership nomads are perched off to the south, and that's where their traders are coming from. So they're asking for like you to stay a night and help look out and make sure that nothing happens to them. Since in their area, like further off to the east and then anywhere off the roads is kind of wild territory right now with all the chaos that has happened.
East?
Any notable some people causing trouble that way? Any one of note?
Are you asking us, Goreguts?
Yeah.
Why don't you roll an investigation check?
Anyone of note? Investigation.
Yeah. Okay, so there is tale of one strange figure that has not been seen in this area since the first time they were seen. And they're just characterized by like almost as being a shadow. And let's see. So they're characterized as being like a shadow, and there was a glint of purple where their eyes should have been.
Hell, maybe. So we could be nice and stick out here and like provide them protection or just an eye out, or we can. Oh yeah, and if they're causing trouble, maybe they'll cause trouble over here, and maybe they'll just come to us. Maybe it's a good idea that we stay instead of just heading out.
Yeah, I think if they're asking us, I'm not going to ignore them. If they're asking us to help them with keeping watch because they're feeling unsafe, then I'm probably going to volunteer to help them keep watch.
Your buildings don't turn into chickens, right?
No, they say definitely not.
Good.
With a weird look on their face. Why would that? Why? I don't understand why you would say that.
Like your town.
It would be out of character for us not to assist those who are in need. So of course we'll stand to help you.
Okay. So yeah, you guys agree to bunk down for the night, and there's no inn here, so you're actually like staying at somebody's house. And I think that it would be the leader of the house leader of the town, who had asked you to stay. Tobias Buckner is his name. So you guys settle in his house. There's actually it's a pretty big house, like considering that this is kind of like a frontier town sort of a thing. But you get the impression that this isn't like flaunting wealth or anything like that. He seems to be a pretty genuine dude. His whole family is very polite, very. And I keep saying that, like, I have this right now, the vision I'm painting in my head is something like of a polite veneer, but like it is genuinely heartwarming. These people are very welcoming. And you don't get the impression from the townspeople that they hold any disdain for him, except for maybe like there's like a couple outliers or whatever like that. But generally speaking, he seems to be well received and in very good standing. And so since his house is large, and you guys are staying the night. Who's going to be on watch around this time in the evening?
Tyrek's pretty much always awake.
So this is before, like, this will be like pre-bedtime. This is around the time that like dinner time, right?
Sure, it can be his turn to be.
Okay.
Watch during that part of the day too.
So Tyrek is out watching, just keeping watch to the south, to the east, to the north, and to the west, all the directions, even the north and south, eastern and western directions, and anything in between.
But he forgot about up.
And down, apparently. Tarek's on watch. The rest of you are inside, telling stories.
I try to impress them with the turtle soup.
Turtle soup, yeah, you make turtle soup. It's very well received. Someone's even like, wow, this is better than the Wondership Nomad's recipe.
Join our guild.
Mirrah's playing her violin. What song are you playing tonight, Mirrah?
I did not plan ahead on that.
No, that's okay. I will say whatever song you're playing, no matter how haunting it's supposed to sound, there is like a very notable like lightness to the tone that's hard. Like you have to really like focus to like get rid of it if it's ruining the song that you're trying to play. I don't know if Mirrah has any sad songs that she plays, like, you know, if you're playing like the defeat of Gauntlet or something like that and trying to really emphasize the hardship of the battle before Smokey sank 2 arrows into his face. Like, it's really hard to properly convey that feeling when you're like wanting to dance and get up just because.
She'd just be playing something lighthearted.
Okay, I like it.
Telling stories of the adventures is a bard's job.
That's true. That's fair. Yeah, excellent. So, Tyrek, your passive perception notices a shadow moving off to the south. It's far away, not close enough to be any kind of a threat to the town. It doesn't appear to be moving your direction. But make an investigation check for me as you kind of narrow in on this particular shadow. Oh my! Luke goes temporarily blind. I'm kidding. Is Luke out there with Tyrek?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm still standing guard.
Are you not taking part in like the festivities and stuff?
Well, I was told to stand guard.
He's just T-posing out there, asserting his dominance.
Well, because
like at least a day later.
Yeah. I mean, it's fine if Luke wants to be out there like with Tyrek.
Yeah, I'll stay out then.
Okay, cool. So we got Tyrek and Luke. So when Tyrek notices this shadow, maybe he like kind of nudges Luke, and Luke looks over, and then Tyrek, you narrow in, and you see a glint of purple, and I think Luke does too. And Luke, your first thought is this is the Scuba Steve robot that we saw like a week ago. And Tyrek, your first thought is those look familiar, but it's not the robot.
Kind of looks like
Did
he's
everybody die?
squirming, though.
And is the shadow gigantic like that?
No, no, nothing like that.
Scale.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that Tyrek's got some pretty good vision. So like it's far away and it looks about man-shaped. Certainly not gigantic, but even at this distance, your vision is able to capture that glint of purple.
That'd be Helm. I can't decide if we should. Luke, should we stay here in town or should we after that?
I think we should go after that.
Yeah, I feel like we shouldn't leave the town alone because we told them we'd be here to help them, but that thing's important too. I'm gonna start off after it. You tell the others, and some people catch up with me.
Okay. Run in and grab him.
Okay. I'm gonna attempt to keep the thing at least where I know decently where it is.
So yeah, you start off south, and it's not hard to like remain in eye contact with it. The terrain over here isn't super rough, so you're not like constantly looking down at your feet to try to figure out where you're walking. So you keep a bead on it. Now, it doesn't appear to be moving, But the longer you walk, it also doesn't appear to be getting any closer.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
So, noting that, once I get a little ways out, I'm just gonna stop. Like, no, I'm not doing this again.
Tyrek's learning.
Meanwhile, Luke, you come down into the. You go into. I say come down. I was imagining you guys on the roof, but wherever it is that you were, you come into the house where everyone kind of is. And how are you, like, who are you coming up to, and what's your message?
I feel like I'm gonna come up to the group and, collect everybody that I can see.
Okay, so go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you come up to everybody. The music kind of dies down around you, and you're just like, hey, not that, like, I don't know, it's not like everyone went silent upon seeing you, but the volume of the room kind of does.
Kind of more in haste. Like if everybody's not like clumped together, I'm gonna just kind of grab the first couple people I can see. Right. I feel like I was more in a hurry than anything.
Okay. Then in that case, the first person you see is Goreguts, and it kind of looks like me. Mirrah's off in a corner playing the violin. Smokey's deep in conversation on the other side of the room from you, with the town leader guy. So Goreguts is really like the first person that you kind of come up to. So are you just kind of grabbing him and being like, "Hey, I need your hand. I need a hand," and then walking out with him? So. Okay, so you grab Goreguts. Goreguts, I'm assuming you go with him, right? I'm sorry, I don't mean to make that decision for you.
Okay, I just can't leave the soup very long. Like, waddle after him.
We're waddling.
Waddle. Okay, so you guys head out. You can see Tyrek walking off in the distance. And...
Did I roll perception if I could see a shadowy figure?
And roll it with advantage, because Luke would have told you at this point, like as you're walking out, I'm sure he would have told you, like, hey, we saw something weird.
I did not.
You did great.
I'm just joking.
Okay, I was going to say, I don't have anything at perception for some reason.
Yowza.
Well, it sure is dark out here.
Yeah, you're like, my darn dark vision failed me again. Yeah, you're not seeing anything that Luke's talked about until he really specifically points it out.
I feel like we'd both be looking to run after Tyrek.
Yeah, I mean, you can see Tyrek for sure. He's hard to miss, and he's not too far. Like, he's not even quite out of town at this point. And you guys kind of run after him. I'm going to go back into the building now for a moment. As I had mentioned that the volume of the room had been slightly lowered when Luke walked in. As Luke and Goreguts left the room goes completely silent. And Smokey, you noticed this very specifically. Mirrah, because you're playing the violin. Smokey, because you were in the middle of a conversation with the the mayor, the Thane, if you want to call him that,
always the politician.
And he had been mentioning something about wanting better relations with Elsira, and then he had just stopped. And you look up, and everybody in the room is frozen and colorless. And Mirrah, you hear a tapping on the window, kind of by your corner.
I do kind of that Metal Gear Solid Guard thing with the exclamation point and then spin.
There's a man with purple eyes standing outside of the window.
Man or Robo-Man or
like a man. He's
That's
very
different.
He's very pale.
I mean, I also have purple eyes and I'm very pale. I'm gonna kind of sidestep over to Smokey, kind of elbow him and then gesture towards the window.
He's gesturing for the window. If you could open the window, the man is.
Smokey, what do you think?
I mean,
on a scale of 1 to 10, how purple are these eyes? Since we've seen a few Warforged, right? Or
Yeah.
a few of the Warmasters.
Nothing like that.
Okay.
100% not the Warforged.
Okay, so I'm gonna ignore the fact that they were mentioned and just assume that. Actually, I don't know. I'm not sure if I would actually react as strongly as I am, given. Anyways, I'm gonna over-explain this situation. I would definitely be a little disturbed since the room just went frozen, and we're still moving, and this person outside the window is moving. But I don't see any reason why we shouldn't open the window.
Remembering that my ASMR heritage has purple eyes, I'm going to hope he's an ASMR. And go ahead and open the window.
May I come in?
Oh no.
No.
That seems fair. How are you?
Well, and you?
Tired.
Hey, so can I get a little bit more of a description of this guy?
Yeah, let me just check my notes here.
Pale is his skin. Does he have a heartbeat?
Do I feel related?
Yeah. So I do want to. Maybe I need to retcon it. It's not purple eyes. What the fuck color was his eyes?
If it's what I'm thinking, then
It's what you're thinking.
Yellow.
Yellow. Okay. I'm sorry. Let's retcon all of that. It's yellow eyes. You guys saw yellow eyes. I'm so sorry. I knew I screwed that up. I knew I screwed it up somehow.
Albino.
Oh God. He has pale skin. He's wearing dark clothing. His eyes are yellow, like a bright yellow, not like piercingly bright, like I've been describing the Warforged. I don't want to that's not how this is supposed to be mistaken. And as he speaks, Smokey, you see two pointed fang-like teeth coming from at where his canines are. Mirrah, he says to you, I'm tired. I've had a long journey, but I come bearing a gift.
And what would that be?
He holds up, he holds up a head. And as the head comes into view, it's not immediately apparent that it is not a flesh and blood kind of head, just because of how sudden it is. But he tosses it in through the window, and it makes a thunking sound like metal. And you guys see the eyes of these eyes of blue, I believe. Let me make sure I have that right. Yes, these eyes of blue on a Warforged head, but there is no piercing light coming from them because it is dead.
Thank you.
Hmm.
And I assume there's something you want in return?
I just wanted to check in on you. It's been a number of years since I last saw you, although I don't think you saw me.
That's, comes across a little unsettling, to be honest.
A little creepy.
A little bit.
No, that response was on the table.
Yeah, no, of course.
Do I know you?
No, but you know my works. I'm so tempted to use the Gandalf line. You know my name, but you do not know that I belong to it. He kind of, so I will say, he's, God, it's poetic. He's wearing a top hat. And he takes it off and sweeps it down, and he says, you can call me Desark.
At that, Mirrah's eyes just kind of go wide, and she takes a step back. Desark. I thought... I don't know, I thought you were gone. I don't even know what to say.
I don't expect you to say anything, young one. I have merely come to give you a gift, and I say that in the most literal form. I don't want anything from you. I've come to see that you're all right, and I've come to let you know that I'm here.
I assume you know what happened.
I've got bits and pieces of the story, sure.
The war, the hunters, they came and they killed my mother. And I had no idea where you were.
His eyes flare angry, not at you, but like when you mentioned killed my mother, you see anger pass over his expression. And then you say, I had no idea where you were, and then sadness passes over his expression. And he looks down, and like you see his hand. This like window is really like it's almost chest height. And he brings his hand up, his right hand, and he looks down into it and kind of like turns it over and inspecting his nails and his knuckles, and then he begins to kind of absentmindedly rub it, and you can tell he's thinking of a response, and he's like, while your mother died, so did I. Although maybe not at the same time frame, but I died again. Your mother was the light of my life when I had her. And I'm sorry I wasn't there to shield you from what came next. But look at you now. Look what you've accomplished. Could you say that you would have done as much with me there?
Don't honestly believe I could. No. Where have you been?
Someone has to keep the plane of shadows in line. You see all these illithid running wild on this world. Something needs to be done about that. I see that you're chasing Redstone's creations, which is in and of itself something I've been trying to do, which is why I brought you this. I'm not going to interfere any further if you've already got this handled. But this is a threat that needs to be taken care of. There's one more, and her heirs. The blood of Redstone. Not his creations, not his Warmasters, but his true blood.
Who? Where?
Not far from your new home. I believe you know her as Kawahara, Raylene.
Yeah, we thought Raylene died. The reports all came in that she died on the way to Ebenhearth.
She faked her death in Edgemire.
Hey.
She had a changeling bodyguard that took her form and died for her. Was it changeling? Hang on, I might have that wrong.
If you're talking about one of the party members, then yeah, there was one.
It was changeling, okay, yeah. I couldn't remember if it was changeling or doppelganger.
Smokey's face was scrunched. Why would she fake that? Kind of thinking out loud.
I need to share this information with my friends and my guild.
Should I go?
I have so many questions, but I don't know if you being here would be a good idea. I've heard things about you. It's why I never used your name. I'm sorry, I believed them. I kinda still do. You'll forgive me if I don't immediately trust you.
I don't blame you. One's nature is hard to overcome. I hope to speak with you again. And he turns to leave without so much as like a hesitation. And make a perception check, Mirrah. Okay, so I think you notice that there's something in the windowsill.
Do I need to investigate to see what it is? Or?
I mean, if you get closer, you'd be able to see it.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a small stone of far speech.
Oh. Yeah, Smokey's totally gonna notice I have that.
Smokey, what's your passive perception?
18.
Yeah, you notice you notice Mirrah reach out and like touch something on the windowsill, and then maybe either looking at it or putting it in her pocket.
Yeah, pocketing it. Assuming I know what it is.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty easy to once you see it, you know immediately what it is.
Daddy left a cell phone.
Yeah. He left his number for you. I don't know if Smokey would know that though. I think if you cross the room to see this thing after Desark left, then
I think Smokey was content to kind of observe, and I mean he's definitely a little flustered hearing that Raylene is still alive. Having said that, that was maybe like one of the possibilities he had in his mind. But he doesn't really want to necessarily. I think he's happy to let Mirrah lead the conversation that just occurred, as he kind of felt like he was in the back seat and he was just kind of like feeling a little creeped out the whole time.
Yeah, 100%. Were you saying something, Siri?
Yeah, I don't want to make a suggestion out of line or anything, but should there be like a history or something to see if anyone knows who this guy is other than me?
Yeah, Smokey, you could. Has Mirrah ever spoken of Desark?
No, not at all.
Okay, so I really think Smokey, go ahead and make a perception check, but there won't have been any assistance. I'm sorry, did I say perception? I meant history. My bad. I read the word perception as I clicked over to the tab. Okay, so I will say the name Desark sparks some recognition in you, just like as Smokey's become more of a politician and you've like heard people's stories, like maybe this name has come up, but you couldn't really put like a pin in as to where or when or what the context was. Maybe especially once Mirrah said, like, I've heard things about you and I'm tempted to believe them, so you'll forgive me if I don't trust you. Maybe that would spark like, okay, these are probably negative connotations associated with this name. Not to mention the fact that he's got big old vampire fangs.
Yeah, that was my main thing. I think I was going to offer to Mirrah is Smokey's, scouted and hunted for quite a while. I don't necessarily think I have a backstory with him going after vampires, but seeing the pale skin, not really caring about the cold, and especially those fangs, I just kind of would have led like, so, was that vampire a friend of yours, or?
At least among the Quellists, it's no secret that Mirrah is damp here. So, yeah.
We all keep interesting company, Mirrah. I'm not one to judge, but having company bring us a severed head is a little alarming. Is everything okay?
I was not expecting that. I have no idea if everything's okay, to be completely honest. But this, and she bends down and picks up the head. This is who we were after, right?
Nothing ever comes to us that easily. Is the room still frozen, by the way?
Oh, yeah.
I think I would gesture towards the room while I'm saying that, like, this, what we have in our hands, shouldn't have come so easily. There has to be a catch.
We need to go find Tyrek and Goreguts.
Oh, that's a good point. I think my attention has been so drawn to this, I kind of forgot about that situation.
Not Luke. Not Luke.
Not Luke,
Don't
no.
find Luke. Don't find Luke.
I can't remember where Luke is.
Just lose him in a cornfield somewhere. He'll be fine.
Luke was the snowman.
I mean, Luke's our way home, so we kind of need him.
Sidebar, real quick, I just want to point out, Raylene being the descendant of Illithid is something I've had planned out literally from day one, so
Nice.
that was a very fun reveal, and I've been looking forward to making Desark be the one to bring it.
Wait, run that by me again. Raylene is...
Raylene Kawahara is a descendant of Illithid, Mind Flayers. Because Redstone was a forced baby from Packard,
That's
right? Packard was forced to impregnate one of the Illithid queens, who then gave birth to a half-human, half-Illithid baby, presenting as human, who then went on to have children, and so somewhere down the line, Raylene comes into play.
And now I'm worried about Crow.
He's probably fine.
Yes. Crow is also one of the illithid people.
Crow. He's been in the house the whole time. The call's coming from inside the crow.
All right. So yeah, Mirrah's gonna go to the door and try to open it if it's not also time locked.
Well, you know what they call a group of crows? A murder.
That's true.
Sorry, my mouth was full of macaroni and cheese.
How dare you?
Okay. The moment you open the door, the room jumps back to life. Color comes back. And so, real quick. Sorry, we need to jump back to the other group, the group that was outside.
We're still alive.
Yeah, Luke, Goreguts, and Tyrek.
Okay.
Tyrek has stopped following this thing with yellow eyes, not purple. Nah, screw it. The shadow still had purple eyes.
Oh.
Yeah, the shadow did have purple eyes. And Tyrek, at some point, you're able to discern. I'm not even going to make you roll for it, honestly. Like, it's very clear that there's some sort of sorcery going on. Everyone else catches up to you, Goreguts and Luke. You point out the shadow to them. They see it. Goreguts, you're able to actually see it at this point. And when you turn around, like, Tyrek, at some point you turn around like, I'm not good. I don't know. What's your thought process right now? What are you thinking when you kind of discern that this is some kind of sorcery?
So when I see that it's some sort of an illusion sorcery, and that it's continuing to stay equidistant away from me as I move forward, I'm gonna stop, and then I still don't particularly trust it because they're trying to, whether that's the side of it for me of getting me out of town. So I'm going to lecture the thing a little bit while backwards towards town because I don't trust for sure that it's not going to do something. And actually, I have.
Where do you think that this might be coming from? Where's Tyrek's head as far as like what could be causing the sorcery?
You said it looks humanoid in shape?
Yeah.
Okay. That part's going to really throw him off. He's not sure. If it was something one of the Warmasters was doing, they'd have made it look more like themselves. But it could be somebody that's messing with him that knows more, that knows enough, but not enough. You know what? I'm going to do this.
Excellent. Okay. So two things are going to happen as you decide to like really focus in and try to find out like what's going on. In tandem with this, I'm not going to withhold any information from you, but in tandem with this, I want all three of you to make wisdom saving throws.
Is Luke still alive?
Did he fall asleep? Chris?
I don't hear any snoring.
Uncle Cheese, did you fall asleep? Okay. Do you mind rolling a wisdom save for me?
1 second. My battery on my laptop is bad, so let me sign back.
Damn. Okay. Okay. Luke and Goreguts, you guys watch as Tyrek says something like, "It's a kind of enchantment," and then he begins to continue walking towards this thing. Now, you guys haven't like felt any compelling need to walk towards it, and Chris, you as Tyrek, like at this point in time, all you know is that you're like focusing in trying to figure out what it is, right? And like that's kind of where, and I'm not going to say like your memory ends because like Tyrek's got a great memory, but like just for whatever reason, your memory does not record any further from this point on. God, and I do a lot of memory stuff, especially with Tyrek and with all of you guys, really. And I don't really intend for it. That's not like. All I'm saying is that okay, I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself here. Goreguts and Luke, what are you guys going to follow Tyrek?
I'm taking the soup with me though.
Okay. So yeah, you guys continue to follow Tyrek as he continuing to walk towards this shadow with purple eyes. Again, that never gets any closer. Now, you don't walk very long before you kind of crest a hill and you can see very clearly the Lich Fork confluence, kind of off in the distance. And then as you crest this hill, you realize that like you've been following this figure that didn't seem to like move down the hill, but the moment that you realize that you're like looking down a hill towards something, suddenly you realize that like this figure is way off in the distance, and it is like jumping into the edge of the water. Tyrek, at this point in time, you're like, you have this epiphany. Oh, it's an enchantment. And then suddenly you're like on top of this hill looking down at the Lichfor confluence. That's like where you're. So like at first you're like, what is that thing? Oh, duh, it's an what the hell? Where am I? And Luke and Goreguts are with you. And if you were to ask them, they would say that they followed you here and that nothing weird has happened other than you wandering off to follow the thing.
Oh, that's... I don't like that so much.
Maybe Tyrek does need to sleep.
Damn it, that's probably a sign it's important enough that we need to check it out a bit more. But I really don't want to go down near the water without the rest of the group.
You want to go back in the water after we got lost?
Not especially.
At this point, if you were to turn around, you would see Smokey and Mirrah approaching from a distance, as it looks like they've been chasing after you guys. So, without further ado, you do meet up. You guys meet up at some point, whether or not Tyrek walks back to meet them, or just kind of stays on the hill to keep an eye on things. But eventually, you guys meet up. You're all together.
Okay. Yeah, if they're walking our direction, I'll stay right there.
Are you guys okay?
I think so.
Oh, what happened out here?
There was a shadow, like a black silhouette of somebody, moved past town, like it was trying to be sneaky, but also like it kind of had glowing purple eyes. So I had Luke go grab somebody from inside, and we went after it to see what it was doing. I convey what happened. Yeah.
Did you two bring the head with you?
So, yes, definitely. So it looked like a shadow and kind of moved like a shadow too.
Mm-hmm. It was upright, like a person standing.
Might have had to do with him. Here. And she tosses the head to Tyrek.
Oh.
As much as I'd like to say I did that by myself, no. We were visited by Desark.
Oh boy, that name echoes in Tyrek's memory. Let's see. I was trying to think of a good way to like visualize with a word picture how this goes through Tyrek's mind. Tyrek, you have heard all kinds of stories about Desark.
Yeah.
A dark sorcerer. I'm assuming that series let you in on some of this. I might be wrong about that.
Not particularly.
Okay, no, that's fine. Honestly, Siri, if you don't mind, if you want to kind of, let's see. No, let me do it. Okay, let's see. There's a legend of Desark being a dark sorcerer, almost like an alchemist, kind of. Please correct me if I go off the path here, because I've got your stories here.
I could do it. It's just I don't know how much they should know.
Yeah, he's tied very deeply with the shadow, the plane of shadow. And you know that his name is attached to some really nefarious deeds during the Dhampir purge. Like of the Corionid War, like after the Corionid themselves were all but extinct, and then the tides shifted to hunting Dhampir. Now, not in favor of hunting the Dhampir. His actions actually had to do a lot more with sort of attacking what, innocent populations that were sided with the people who were hunting the Dhampir. Some of it seemed sloppy. All of them were war crimes, undoubtedly. And you never got the impression that it was anything organized. It seemed like a fit of passion. Although, if you were to have mentioned that to anybody, nobody would have really understood. Tyrek's always been analytical. I'm assuming, and just the way that he would have looked at that would have been like, yeah, this doesn't seem like it was organized. But everyone else is just like, what are you on about? Tyrek people are dead.
Yeah. So why is he visiting you?
He came to check up on me. I know it wasn't the easiest thing for you to look past the fact that I am a Dhampir. There's more to it than that. Desark was my father.
Yeah, okay.
I have never met him until today. I was raised by my mother. But yeah.
You're not him. You're not responsible for any of the things he did. Doesn't change who you are.
Off my heart.
Thank you.
Doesn't mean I might not stab you in the night while you're asleep, but you're not responsible for anything that he did.
She's just gonna kind of grin at that and say, I'll have to learn how to not sleep like you.
All right.
The fact that he's back, he says he's looking out for us in a way. For me, I don't think it's a good thing. He did mention something about holding the plane of shadow in check, and that he himself has been trying to hunt down the Warmasters, and that it's important that we continue doing so. He also told us that Raylene Kawahara is alive and one of the children of Redstone. I don't know if we should trust anything he says, but I don't know what benefit there would be to making that up.
Yeah.
That the brain or whatever is probably still inside that.
Expect so. It doesn't look like it's been opened.
That is correct.
Oh, good. Okay. Alright, so we've also now got to acknowledge that the power of one of the Warmasters is residing in an ancient vampire who, at the least, is not a good guy. Of course he's not, he's a vampire. Maybe he's telling the truth about being primarily focused on keeping things in order and in line. If that's the case, that puts him in the category of problem for later, which is good. We have enough problems for right now.
Yeah, I missed something of an important bit. Tyrek, you would know him as the Vampire Lord, Terran Desark.
Okay.
Sorry, if I should have got to that a little sooner. And Lord implies mafioso, kind of.
Yeah.
in a sense. I will say, Smokey and Mirrah, now that you're here, did you point out where the shadow went to in the... Okay, so when you point that out, and actually, honestly, with this head and unshielded brain crystal next to you guys, everyone kind of gets a sense of this, but Mirrah and Smokey, you're 100% sure that helm lies in the water there. Not necessarily that the shadow Tyrek was describing, Tyrek and Goreguts and Luke were all describing. The shadow wasn't necessarily Helm, themselves, but that you're 100% sure that whatever that shadow had to do with it, it led you guys to Helm's lair. And it would be at this point that, of course, at this point, your Tyrek, your basalt crystal starts vibrating again.
Mm-hmm.
And this time it says,
Though the strongest of them stopped rarely to wallow, a few of them yearned for something more to follow. Their goal seemed clear but left something hollow. This, for the compassionate, was a hard pill to swallow. Diamond spoke to Amethyst and they brokered a truce to reach their goal without the abuse. Amethyst persuaded Steel with a charisma like a sluice and began with their new plan to others seduce.
Diamond and amethyst.
Helm and Vambrace.
Did they say something about steel?
Well, that's either Karaz or an unknown one.
Or could steel be like an unknown one, or do they refer to steel as every other Warforged, not from the batch?
That could be. Stop rarely to.
Have we ever got a sense that they've been recruiting Warforged?
If you look at Quiris, his brain is supposed to be made of steel, not titanium. That's my bad. I forgot I had that typo on the other one.
Gotcha.
Okay. I figured that was the...
So that sluice gate is the thing that blocks a river to hold back water, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a charismatic thing?
Sliding gate or other device for controlling. So active rinsing of water.
I was going
showering.
I was going for strong. Gotta be built well, right?
Gotcha. I was thinking like maybe it had something to do with Helm because water. Okay, so Curious and Vambrace. Curious might also be interested in considering options other than just wonton slaughter.
So Vambrace spoke to Amethyst. Vambrace spoke to Helm. And they had a truce to find a different one. And Helm spoke to Karaz. Okay. And we're very sure that Helm is right there in the water?
Yes.
All
like
right.
98% sure.
Okay.
Look at that. Pre-labeled and everything.
All we have to do is get into the water.
Let's see if he'll agree to come talk to us near the shore.
I'll
But
try to
not
persuade
not
him by
down
waving.
on the shore, not in the water. A little ways removed, where he can see us clearly and we can see him.
We have turtle soup. He'll come.
Helm, I would speak with you.
Are you doing a convocation of the mind right now?
That would probably make the most sense, yeah. Instead of just yelling and hoping.
So, oh man. God, I love this. I love that you guys do this to me every time. Man.
Can I try to make it inviting by having a little cooking pot or whatever, just making soup hey.
Are you boiling oil too or something?
Sure. Making it all nice, hey. Want soup and just talk.
You reach out with the convocation of the mind, and actually, instead of receiving an answer back directly, you hear echoing in here another stanza. And this time it says, it's echoing fully through your brain at this point, and it says,
But lo, interest Garnet showed of their new plan. He approached Diamond under the guise of clan. They spoke at length, and so promising was this stand that Garnet moved to convince the others, and off he ran. The three three colors waited and prepared and schemed until their plans looked as foolproof as anything so deemed. The years passed by, and from what it seemed, that Garnet's promise was not to be redeemed. The three didn't need Garnet's help for their quest, even if having more hands to work would have been best. No, indeed they worked on, not pressured, not stressed, until the day of the other color's request.
And that's all you get. There is no, like... It doesn't feel like... I'm trying to, like, put in modern day themes. It really feels like as though you phoned a number and a literal robot, like, dialer picked up and gave you its menu and then hung up immediately after.
Yeah.
There's like no move to respond from Helm. All you're getting, and honestly, like, it's funny to imagine Helm saying this. Like, you don't even know that this is Helm giving you these stanzas.
Right. I didn't really think that was gonna work. Interesting information. Friends, what do you think we should do?
We have to stop them. If they won't talk to us, we don't have a lot of alternatives.
And the closest to us right now is Helm.
But if we go in the water after him, he's just gonna swim away again.
Does it still feel like he's right there?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Maybe Helm's trying to lead us to somewhere. Oh, okay.
What?
Flame strike. Are you flame striking the water?
Fire beats water.
Pokemon taught me wrong.
Take that, H2O.
H2O, no. Okay. So, I think we should go down to the shore. I think it's a terrible idea, but I think we should go down to the shore.
As long as Smokey is ready to cast water breathing if we need it.
I guess I'll try to secure and seal the soup best I can, so no water gets inside of it.
Okay, so you're going to the shore?
Yeah.
You can cast a soup a soup water warding spell around it. I'm sure Goreguts has all kinds of things. You get closer to the shore, and this time, the head that you guys are carrying speaks. It's not alive. The eyes aren't lit up, but sound is literally coming from the mouth area, or it's coming from the head. Whether or not the mouth is moving is a different matter.
Two bade Diamond stay for safety's sake. Diamond chose trust, and with Garnet's hands did shake. Together the two planned for a new goal stake, down by the river that fed into the lake. Garnet led Diamond to believe there was gain, and for years yet did they prepare and train. When one day war broke out around the plain, and Garnet turned on Diamond and left him in pain.
Oh, they had a falling out. Should we try heading over to the river?
Which one?
The one that says river on the map?
There's a bunch of those?
Well, I mean, the one right above the ruins, above the Lich Fork.
Oh,
That one.
The pitch
that river doesn't lead into a lake, though.
So there's Lake Pectan.
Yes,
whatever the name
somebody's
is.
doing his homework.
The lake by Refuge and Virma's Peace, which I can't remember the name of. and the lake over by Pleth's Prairie. Of the set of them, the Lake Pectan is the most logical because it's on the plains near where there was all the crazy fighting. Jacked up a big chunk of the world. It's also right near the Shrike Temple.
Jackal might be interested in a trip home.
So we're just gonna ignore Helm, I guess, and just...
The Harpy River? That... Something's familiar about that. I feel like I heard something about the Harpy River before, and I can't remember what it was.
Did it have to do with Harp Cry?
Well, I think Raxus is near there. Maybe we can get a hold of him. I feel like from here, our choices are go home and then travel from there, or try to deal with Helm here.
As you mentioned that,
Oh no!
there's a loud whining pulse that comes out from Waterside.
I lost again, I know it.
I want to say at this point, excuse me, at this point, you guys, and I say you guys, I mean Mirrah and Smokey, there's an itching in the back of your head in the same way that, like, you're sure that Helm is down there. You're starting to feel like there might be more. There might be more. It might not just be Helm down there.
Oh. We might be in for a fight here.
Good thing I packed the soup.
It's coming from the water. Is it moving closer, or is it just in the water?
So that feeling that there's something other than Helm, is there a color associated with that feeling?
Steel. I'm really glad you asked that question. Yes, you can feel as though Steel has made himself known.
That's curious.
Yeah.
Aren't these the two who were supposed to have teamed up with Vambrace, who wanted peace? I don't...
Either that or they wanted isolation.
That could be. So you guys coming out of there to fight us? Or do you expect us to jump in the water with you?
Man, are you like trying to send that out into like the flux of this bond you have?
Well, that depends. If I can get a line to do so, I'd use sending, say that.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I like that. I mean,
no, not
message.
sending. Sorry, message.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so yeah, they can reply back, right? With message?
No. Message is one way.
Okay. Man, okay. God, you send that? Are you coming out here to fight us, or do we have to go in there? And you get this overwhelming, like, feeling that you need to see something. There's something, like, down there that you need to see. And this is like, God, this is such a, there's like this duality. Like you know, Mirrah has this, there's like a hesitation here, right? Obviously, like potential enemy. And then like there's this other feeling that comes back that you know is sent by one of these enemies or potential enemies, right? And it's just like there's an urgency of like you need to see this. And Smokey, I want to say Smokey starts feeling like a permeation of that from your like what's being sent to Mirrah is shedding off and like hitting Smokey in some way. So if Mirrah says they want to show us something, you could potentially corroborate that feeling.
They want to show us something in there and kind of point towards it.
It could easily be a trap, but it could also be what we're looking for.
I don't think we traveled this far to find what we were looking for and say, no, we're not going in there.
So just to be clear, now it's a good idea. Back. Yeah, we should probably do that.
All right, no sense standing here thinking about it all day, right?
Okay, so you guys head down to the water. Smokey casts water breathing. Mirrah, as you guys get to the water, the wind picks up and blows in from the east. And all of you can smell, like, there's a smell of death on the air, right? Largely due to the disaster that has just occurred here in the recent months. Mirrah, I need you to make a Constitution saving throw. Okay, Mirrah buckles over and vomits pretty violently.
Oh, jeez.
And then pretty much immediately recovers, though. It's just a real quick, as that wind hits you guys and that smell is kind of overpowering, she vomits. Which, as bad as the smell is, that none of the rest of you really have felt like you needed to. Like, I mean, you're all pretty seasoned with death, and you would have figured she was too, so it's, I don't know, it's a little weird, but you guys step into the water, and Mirrah and Smokey are immediately able to take the lead and lead you guys to, like, the floor of this body of water. And as you get there, there's a series of overgrown, like, underwater flora, and there's stones and things like that. And the entrance to this place, Mirrah, as you look down, you can see what looks to be a fisherman's net. And there's a blue shine coming from underneath the net. And as you walk into this room, you can see that there is a giant blue crystal underneath this net, and it looks as though it is fractured and cracked 3 ways to Sunday. Almost looks as though like a giant fist has punched it until it broke.
Arcana, maybe?
Yeah, Arcana check's actually a really good way of doing that.
Tyrek doesn't know real stuff. He just makes up stuff.
That looks like a crystal. Wow.
I know that crystal.
Goreguts.
I found it in a cookbook.
I found it in my cookbook. Let me ask you, Goreguts, do you touch the crystal as you're looking at it?
I'm just recalling my vast knowledge of crystals.
Okay.
Because I cook with them,
I'm
apparently.
trying an alternate approach.
Religion? There doesn't appear to be any religious... there's like no markings that make you think that this is like a religious ceremony. Cook, with your Arcana check, you recognize that there's a broken spell that was on that stone, some kind of an abjuration spell that could potentially turn into something else. And I think with a check that good, and with the net that's over it, and just kind of the context of the room, you're pretty sure that like this is some kind of this was a trap of some kind.
But it's already been sprung.
Well, no, because the spell that you're sensing was never set off; it was broken. And there's 3 pathways out of this room. There's a pathway here, there's a pathway right in front of you, and there's a pathway off to your left.
Which way are the robo-dudes?
Man, you do some sensing, and you're pretty sure you could get there any of the 3 ways except for the one up to your left.
Gotcha.
I say any of the 3, so literally just the one in front of you and the one off to your right. Any of them, except for 2 of them.
Front or right? Or both. We could split up, because that's always a good idea.
Yes. Going down to the right? Or just checking?
I feel like taking the middle option first is almost always the wrong choice.
There's just a lot of overgrown, like, seaweed and things like that down this way. I guess I didn't. I have my opacity on this stuff set really low, so it's hard to see what I... Okay, so you come to, like, as you walk up and are kind of looking around, Goreguts was the first here. There's, like, a little ship like a broken down dinghy,
Little crystal thing.
and a tiny little. It's big on the map, but yeah, it's about like the size of the palm of your hand. It's like a perfectly round, almost a pearl, except it's clear. It's like clear as glass. It's just colored, kind of a. It's tinted red. This one.
But is it magical?
Yeah, there's magical properties to it.
It's magic.
And you have some sense that it has to do with, like, as you make this check and you're looking at it, you feel like this thing wants to be. It has some connection to eyes.
There's a connection to eyes. It's some magical thing.
Oh. Is it... Tyrek, that head I just lost to you.
Mm-hmm.
That's the blue one.
Oh. Oh, excuse me. Oh.
I could be entirely off the mark here, but...
Boots boat from the river. Sapphires.
Who had a boat?
I'm just making dumb rhymes while I talk. No, would cunning be eyes or espionage more? Either way.
To save you from overthinking it, it doesn't have anything to do with the Warmasters.
Okay, cool.
It's the magical properties that it contains are somehow connected to eyes. And Tyrek, I think if you were to then like kind of assess this object, if you were to look through it, potentially it could show you something.
Gotcha. Okay.
Sorry, I'm kind of realizing like all these crystals and things like that are kind of a dangerous thing with the Warforged.
Okay.
All the established canon. So,
do you want any checks on anything first, or just?
Like if are you grabbing it? Sorry.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. No, nothing happens. No checks to be made. All that happens is you all hear. It almost sounds like it's echoing through the room, but when you like stop to listen, you realize that it's just in your heads, but somehow feeling like it's being projected around you. And there's another stanza. This one says,
But the triad of colors had a plan in place to ensure their legacy no others could erase. Steel and amethyst enacted the trace that would siphon off power for others to chase. It was insurance for them against their kin, no matter the lies any of them tried to spin. They isolated from the work, no longer trying to win. Their past actions along with their loss weighing on them like sin.
Let's see.
Who wrote this?
Wherever they were quite the bard.
Well, I mean, like... It doesn't seem like the Warmasters would have written it about themselves.
They probably hired someone to write it for them.
I should ask Cardin about it.
This poetry's interesting. So, if this poem is to be believed,
It seems like they regret.
but also that they
Did they make this vestige of power that Smokey and I are using to find them?
maybe. Does kind of seem like it. That seems like what that's claiming is that they worked out and made. I think we should keep going. If we're down here, we should see what we're supposed to see.
Really gotta stop going on underwater hikes in plate armor.
Path continues. You can see it starts to open up into another chamber, and pretty clearly you can see that there's another crystal in that. Oh my god! Do you Leroy Jenkins into the room? Goreguts?
Oh, I was just getting close enough to do an Arcana check.
Okay. Oh my god. You run into the room. And the moment you cross the threshold of the room,
Oh.
the crystal shakes and that tone pierces, and I need you to make a Constitution save.
Okay. How'd I do?
You're gonna take half of this.
Okay.
We'll just round down. So let's say 17. Wait, 16? I'm sorry, I can do math. You take 16 sonic damage as this thing shrieks, and as soon as it finishes, it cracks. Gigantic crack right down the center. There's one exit from this room down on the map down to the right here.
Wonder how many more of those there are.
Maybe take it a bit slower.
Tyrek, if you were to look at this crystal through that orb, you would see a fading. You would see that the crystal like remains a blue color, right? But it's like a fading light almost.
Okay.
Even though the crystal itself retains its color, there's like a fading blue light coming from it, leaking from the gigantic crack.
And I don't have a tuning fork with me.
For a second there, I thought the blue orb was going to be like those red lens things in the cereal boxes where you look at the weird red scribble stuff and then you can see the messages.
Huh. I tell the other members about what it's doing. It's leaking, kind of like the magic is fading away from it, I guess. I've never seen a spell that didn't expend everything all at once when it.
Can you suck in the stormlight?
I will not confirm or deny whether or not Stormlight was an inspiration to this chamber. But I will say that I drew this chamber up, a year ago. Pathway seems to lead kind of straight. There's like a straight shot again. You can see it opens up over here. There's another kind of destroyed dinghy boat with some skeletons on the floor.
Can I add the bones to the soup?
Why would you do this?
Why wouldn't
He is
I?
an ogre.
Bone broth. It's very salty bone.
Bone broth, yes, brined bone broth. As my daughter says, brone broth.
Those bones have already made soup.
It's all right. The carrot helps balance it out.
Yeah.
The whole ocean is soup.
There you go. See?
You can see between these two rocks, it looks like it opens up into another chamber. But from where you're standing, you can't see whether or not there's another crystal in there.
So is there like a ceiling above us? Or like
I
mean,
mean,
these walls
I had this idea that it was like overgrown. There's like some tall rocks, yeah, but it's mostly overgrown with like seaweed and stuff. This is an underwater dungeon sort of a thing.
So we can't just no clip your maze by swimming over the walls.
I mean, there may or may not be some mechanics for that here. Okay, yeah. So you walk into there and you can see like very clearly there's a big chamber with a gigantic crystal in there.
Don't activate that one.
Oh my! It seems inert. It has not moved to attack you.
Let me see.
Well, it looks like a large shiny rock.
Have an idea. How big's that crystal?
I mean, it's taller than you.
Okay.
And it's like too big to like if three of you were to stand around it in a circle, you probably would barely be able to link hands around it.
That's big.
I'm gonna grab a skull and use Mage Hand to push it against the side of that crystal.
You're just kind of bumping it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, nothing happens.
I could pick up the boat and throw it at it.
Pick up the boat. Throw it at it. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh my.
How about this?
You're gonna cast magic at it.
And I hit it with frostbite.
Okay. Everybody make a Constitution saving throw.
Oh
me,
god,
please.
we all gonna die.
But we're not in its room.
It's underwater. It's sound underwater.
Well,
You're gonna kill the whales
to be
6
completely
miles
fair,
away.
the last one did only hit Goreguts.
That's true.
This is
It's
a
magic.
This is a different effect here.
Oh, I see. So I don't have to make a Constitution saving throw. Well, thank you very much.
Oh my.
I'm going to use my inspiration.
Okay. Excellent. I guess we're not counting. I'm not gonna make Luke take damage if Chris isn't here to have a say in it. So, he's with you in spirit. Goreguts, please make your con save.
So you're saying I shouldn't use Booming Blade underwater?
We should have threw this
Boom.
damn boat against it.
Oh my. Okay.
Oh, no.
Everybody except for Goreguts is going to take half damage on this. God, this is a brutal one too. Okay, so Goreguts, you're going to take 44 damage as this crystal explodes violently, causing a massive pressure shift in the water. Like it is not the sonar pulse sound, it is an explosion. And it hurts. Danny, I am not going to kill Goreguts this go around.
Really?
Oh my.
3d8 plus your spellcasting modifiers. 5, and then from Disciple of Life. Okay, cool. That's what it should be. So 23 hit points to everybody.
Thank you.
Well, I feel fine now.
Nice of it to roll almost exactly what we needed.
Maybe we
that,
should stop anything with rocks.
Yeah,
was it a 22 for everyone who made the save then, Asa?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so nothing happened for some of us.
If you feel as though you were hit by a truck and then simultaneously that truck picked you up and dusted you off and said, walk it off. And you're good.
So the cost of me stupidly casting that cantrip on the rock was to lose a 5th level spell.
Lose a 5th level spell slot.
And hurt Goreguts.
And that room doesn't lead to anything else.
There's an outlet to that room. Whoopsie daisy. Right here.
And I assume it also continues around Goreguts is.
Yeah, where Goreguts is.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go in and see if I can see the message on that stone now.
The pieces of it.
See if there's anything left.
Okay, sorry. Going around. You're trying to check out what's up here first?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then Goreguts, if he went back that way, he'd see that it kind of continues.
And Tyrek's using his decoder ring on the remnants of that.
Oh, yeah, the remnants. You see a red light leaking away from this stone.
Red light?
From these, like, shards. There's, like a red smoke when you're looking through this thing. It's like red smoke rising up through the seaweed forest up top.
I don't want to keep going down this tunnel without Goreguts.
What, so you can...
You can ensure Danny's character's death. I'm just kidding.
It seems like a pattern, and that's what happens to them.
It just like hugs onto the wall, avoiding that crystal.
You can see another crystal up.
Nope.
A little one there.
Nope.
Yeah, I'm not doing anything with that thing. tried that.
Goreguts lifts up the boat and starts like walking it over here. Just puts it up like a shield.
All right.
There's a boat right over here.
Maybe if you look at it through your rock without us blowing it up first.
Yeah. Am I able to discern anything on it from here?
Oh yeah, it's glowing bright red.
It is also glowing red. Okay. Right. I don't think I have anything good for...
2 were blue.
No, just one of them was blue so far.
Didn't actually check the broken one outside.
Do you want me to head back and check its color?
Yeah, I'll just step into the room. Like, I'm sure I'll be fine. And then step into the room and get hurt when it goes off or doesn't. I will gently touch the stone.
Again, nothing happens.
Okay.
Well, likes Tyrek.
This little venture has made me decide that Mirrah's next feat is going to be Shield Master.
The most interesting feature of this room is that there's a stone that goes up and reaches up through the canopy.
And hell?
Huh?
Curious? And hell?
We'll have to come back to look at that. All right. And there's no writing or anything on the stones?
No, nothing like that. Go ahead and do an Arcana check for me and do it with advantage since you have a little bit of experience with this now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's too much of a secret to say that like the stone that's glowing red is storing energy, and that energy is released violently when the crystal is compromised. And considering what happened with the last stone that glowed blue, given that it cracked and it looked like all the energy from it dissipated, as though maybe it was beginning to recharge, this might be kind of like a trick, and that's a really good Arcana check, and so I want to reward you by saying the blue ones can be disabled by compromising the crystal. The red ones are meant to trick those trying to destroy the sonic ones by catching them in destruction and then obliterating the foe.
By which you mean the red ones are meant to deceive Mirrah.
Don't cut the red wire.
Okay.
So, smash blue, don't touch red.
Yes.
Good to know.
Peeking around there, you would see yet another large crystal in that room. And looking up that way, you can see that it goes into another chamber, and there's a glint of blue in there.
This one's blue.
The outside of all of them is blue.
Yeah. Tyrek's so far
this
the only
is-
one with the little looking glass.
Let's confirm that one is glowing red inside.
The one in here, as you look through the glass, you see it is glowing blue.
Interesting.
So, should we hit it?
Should be able to disarm that one. Damaging the crystal, compromising its structure. Disarm it.
It's mad at getting hurt so far by stones. Picks up the boat that he's been hauling, just chucks it at it.
Really?
How
Yes.
long does throwing a boat work underwater?
Throws the boat.
Throws a boat underwater. Only Goreguts. It's Goreguts. Goreguts. Everybody knows it's Goreguts. The boat sails gracefully through the air and then kind of comes to rest up against the crystal, as it is underwater and water resistance is a real thing.
It's all right. I'll take care of this one.
It was a good... I liked where your head is,
Great
Danny.
idea.
I don't mean to punish you for that, but it is underwater.
I hate the water.
I hate the water.
To demonstrate that it's a perfectly safe thing to do, I'll just walk over and hit it with a hammer.
Okay, yeah. So as you walk into the chamber, you hear it beginning to whine as though this thing is charging. And then you hit it with the hammer, and it chips and cracks and immediately goes out.
See? Just fine.
You've solved my crystal puzzle.
I feel like maybe we should hit them from further away, just in case.
There is a pathway up out of this room at the top. Yeah, there's more stones that reach up through the canopy, although this one doesn't go quite as far. You see another one up kind of that way. And the way out is here.
It's a hand. It's a big damn hand.
Oh, goodness. Is this what we
The hand belonged to?
Oh my goodness. Asa,
Hmm.
I'm going to make a history check
Yes.
to see if Mirrah knows what I know.
Yes, that is a hand.
Never mind.
Oh my.
I feel like Goreguts has eaten a few hands in his day. Tackle this history check. Haha!
Oh my. Goreguts, you read in one of your cookbooks about the hottest flame in existence, other than what is supposed to belong to the center of the planar existence. Was compared to the fires of the forge, which were often heralded by very large, grandiose statues.
I think we're getting closer to a forge.
I assume you don't just mean like the village blacksmith.
Nah, this one's special.
And yep, looking over here, you see the forefinger.
That I can walk under that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not just
Aw.
any forge. The
It's
Sky
the-
Forge.
They're
It makes steel things that say Sky Forge on them and are trivially better.
I don't claim to be the best blacksmith in Whiterun.
Another one.
Raven has that honor. Please, God, say something else. Please, Jesus.
Oh my god. I was like, I revealed the wrong amount. I should have revealed that there was like a chamber coming up. I'm sorry. We can say that Mirrah did not step into this like greenish area, which would be considered the rock's chamber. Tyrek, looking at it, you can see that it is glowing red.
Okay. That one is set to detonate. So
Just don't walk in the
leave-
green.
Yeah, leave it alone. Hey, how are you?
Okay, so at where you are now, Mirrah, you're at a crossroads, but I want to give you the full picture before you move anymore. From where you're standing, you can see what looks to be stone steps, and once more before you make any moves, you see can you see that? Like a yellow glow?
Yeah,
Coming from back that direction.
that thing.
Yeah.
Oh. This one's blue.
Blue thingy.
Yellow or blue?
Let's see what else is around here before we...
Let's see. Move down to about here. And what's the colors?
It's glowing blue.
Okay. So I'll do the same thing. I'll just walk up and chip it with my hammer and chisel.
Yeah, same deal. It begins to whine, and then you crack it, and it stops.
Any... Oh, wait.
There's a pathway.
It just
out right
loops.
here.
Connects to that one. Oh, okay.
Yeah, effectively connects right there. Looks like maybe there's a smaller pathway there.
Oh.
Okay, so Mirrah, are you going down that path?
Just to about right here.
Okay, so you see that there's some steps that go up, and it looks as though there's a bright yellow glow kind of illuminating the seaweed above you and everything. And you're pretty sure that there's like a platform up there. And from the way that you're feeling, I will tell you with 100% certainty that is where Quellists and Helm are waiting for you.
Ooh.
Are we ready?
Does anyone need any prep time?
Prep time is for suckers.
Do any chefs need some extra healing?
Sure.
How bad is it?
I'm 85 out of, what is it? 122.
Get the cleric to do it.
Yeah, okay. Luke casts. Come on.
Just because I don't have efficient single target heals.
Maybe I shouldn't use his 6th level spell.
Probably not. Doesn't he have like?
Yeah, he's got cure wounds. I think he's got mass cure wounds right here. Yeah, we'll use one of his 5th level spells.
Wait, he's also only got mass cure wounds and not the single target version?
The single target being cure wounds?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's got that one too. I just thought I thought it did less is all. I'll have him cast that at 5th level. So
Because I don't have that one. I only have the AoE one.
So I'm gonna do 4d8 plus his. So there's 27 hit points for you, Danny. Goreguts. Woo! Woo. Okay. Here we are. You walk up these steps and you come to a giant metal dais. I want you to ignore these little colored orbs you're about to see kind of in the back because I put those there representing something else and I forgot what it was and I promptly saved the map. So pay no heed to those. I promise those aren't like, I'm not trying to trick you with that. Giant metal dais, and off to your right hand side, not right hand side on the map where as we're looking at it, you can tell that it drops down pretty far. And standing kind of in like center line with you guys, but near the back of the dais is both Helm and Quiris. And I will put their pictures. You guys already have seen Helm, but I'll put it in again. Anyway.
Oh. Forge. Forge, not like forged weapons. Forged like Warforged.
This is the Forge, I think, yeah.
But why did they bring us here?
Quiris is standing with his nice green, really resplendent looking tunic is unbuttoned, and you can see his actual Warforged face poking out from his chest. And
that's what that picture was.
The head that is on top is very clearly false. It's a false head. Whereas Helm has all the webbed fingers and fins and things like that. Also has these like speakers all over her body, which create those sonic sounds. Also overgrown barnacles and other things like that. They make kind of an intimidating sight. But the way that they're standing right now is very much a peaceful pose. They don't look like they're ready for a fight.
Step up onto the dais and get my head sliced off.
Yeah, no, everything's fine. Helm kind of makes a hand, brings her hands out and kind of gestures. And I'm realizing I'm saying her. You guys haven't actually heard her speak yet. When she speaks, it's very clearly a feminine voice coming from here. And she says, "I'm very sorry for the strangeness of our meeting. I'm very sorry for the strangeness of my introduction, but I needed to get your attention, and it seems to have worked."
It did. This is the Forge, isn't it?
This is the Forge. I have brought you here so that you will understand the gravity of this gift. You have heard by now, from Pauldron I think, that Vambris wants peace.
Querist steps up, and from the middle of his chest, he says,
You have to understand that we've had...
trying to do a Sean Connery thing here.
You have to understand that with everything that's been going on with the Warmasters, we felt you destroying our kin, and this is good. They've hurt us in the past, and our father, Redstone, is responsible. We're here to make things right, and we know you are the ones to do it. Master Skybreaker, I believe you've been attempting to recruit our kin. We don't share everything through the flux of our minds, but we could feel that. Pauldron got a good laugh about your attempting to recruit him. This is not accusatory, I just want to know the footing on which we stand. What is your intention?
I have been trying to build a base of power to resist and fight Quarg because I believe that he is planning to start another war, another of the big wars. And I hoped that by removing his biggest generals, that we would gain a stronger footing. If at all possible, I would vastly prefer not just not removing, but bringing you to our side. The Warforged, you're all really... I know that Redstone was your creator, your father, in that way. You're really children of the battlefield. That was where you really were born and became who you are. And that's a very hollow and empty life. And it's hard to find purpose outside of death and killing with that. And I know a bit about that myself. So I thought perhaps we could reach an agreement.
I understand.
Helm speaks.
The continued existence of the Warmasters means that Redstone's influence will exist long-lasting. This is something we hope to stop. The Warforged themselves are... well, they are but a consequence of Redstone's actions. Given enough time and the proper stimuli, they will begin to think for themselves, and once they think for themselves, they become a proper people. I believe you all have seen that. We do not mean to destroy the Warforged, merely the Masters of War. And we realize that we are part of that. Now, when we say Redstone's legacy, it is to be noted he had children, and they did not all agree with his methods.
Querist says,
I trust you've heard of Rayling's demise.
Have, though recent revelations call it somewhat into question.
oh boy, make an insight check.
Insight.
Oh my.
Not right now.
Oh my. Goreguts, Smokey, you want in on this action?
Insight check coming up.
Chris, do you still have your inspiration?
Insight check.
Oh my.
Oh no.
Oh my.
You know what? I'm gonna burn that inspiration to re-roll. Insight. No!
Oh my.
I did worse! I did worse!
Wait, Siri, didn't you have 2 inspiration?
I don't know if I really did or not.
Oh yeah, you did.
Okay.
Burn it again.
Woo!
Thank you. Thank you. That was a downward spiral.
There's a look that passes between both of them as Tyrek says that recent revelations call that into question. And they even say something, like Helm whispers something, and with the distance that you have between you, like, you know, she doesn't have like a proper mouth anyway, and so it's not like you would have been able to lip read.
I think Vambrace is here, or he's off doing something else.
Honestly, I'm currently wondering if Vambrace is Vario. Like the one who sent us to go after the Warmasters in the first place.
Because wasn't Vario, he had like similar eyes, but there was like some...
We suspected he might be one of the Warmasters.
Did we ever confirm his eye color, or...
I can't remember.
But Tyrek does.
That's true.
Yeah. Asa, what color does Tyrek remember Vario's eyes being?
His eyes were like kind of a dull blue color. Okay, sorry. She was whispering something, right?
Yes.
And had you not been able to catch that insight, you would have missed it. But since you caught that, Mirrah, you're able to kind of like, because of this connection you have with them, you hear through this like permeate between the minds and this power that you hold. You hear Helm question Quiris saying,
I thought you got her to safety. How did you let news of this pass?
and that's like, it goes very quickly, and you would have missed it absolutely if you did not roll a 20. Or
said that
rather,
to who?
17. Helm was like whispering that to Quiris. And then she looks back at you guys and says,
I do not know of any information that would call this into question.
and like 100% Mirrah, you know she's being untruthful.
That seems to be beside the point of our meeting. What can you tell us about Vario?
Vario. Is that what he's calling himself now? We know him as Vampers.
Suspect.
God damn.
Makes sense.
Man,
Should've
no,
killed him.
okay, hang on a
killed
second.
him.
You guys called me on that
Vario.
day one. Day one, you guys called me on that. Oh, well, Vario, aren't you one of these Warmasters? And I had to be like, I never said that. I had to get as technical as I could on the wordplay. I was so careful about what I said, and then it never came up again.
I believe you said that he had slightly glow.
Yeah, white blue eyes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so jumping off of making the ridiculous, obviously he's a Warmaster.
I was right. Never trust a Warforged.
And with the revelations today, it was pretty easy to go from he's probably a War Master to he's totally Vambrace.
Yeah, the name chosen specifically to fit his pseudonym.
Vario Vambrace is our beloved brother. He has been harmed the most from Redstone's trials. He's been harmed the most from our siblings. He has suffered the most among all of us in losing his consciousness. We found him once in a Warforged graveyard, it seemed like, because they were all mindless, working for some witch. We were instructed not to interfere should we find one of the three of us in such a state, as our minds are too powerful and will come back eventually. We are to understand that he escaped that life eventually, although he never did remake contact with us, so we have carried out this work. And I suspect that he is most focused on the second part of his plan. The first being to make things better.
With the insight roll, does she seem to be sincere in her feelings regarding what I'm assuming is Havard's Cross?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's not like a bullshitty, like, yo, you roll a 13, could be a low roll. Like, no, that's, 100%. You have no reason to suspect she's lying about that.
It might do you well to know that the Warforged of Havard's Cross are being helped.
They share another look, and a feeling of happiness passes. I'm not going to make you guys roll insight for that. Smokey, you feel it too. A feeling of, like, gladness passes through this, like, shared mind space that you have.
So if I'm not mistaken, you're asking us to kill you?
Effectively, yes. That was always the end goal for this, to the end.
And there's not another way for you to be free of Redstone's influence?
We've lived long enough and caused such pain that being able to fix some of the things what we've done will be enough that I don't feel that I need or am owed any more time. Skybreaker, I appreciate what you said about being children of the battlefield, because I do feel as though that's the only way that I can relate to most people.
Hmm.
However, some of us are able to forge our own destinies, and this is mine.
And then Helm says,
Because of the nature of the siphoning that we have, it can only be taken, the powers can only be passed if there is a challenge. So I offer you one final challenge.
I'd like to ask you something first.
Yes, questions, please.
At the outset of this quest of ours, Vario told us that for each Warmaster who falls, the remaining grow stronger. If this is true, would it not be the wisest course to keep the two of you alive until we've dealt with the rest?
The existence of grief and of Sabaton is concerning.
Would it be acceptable to postpone your challenge until they've been addressed?
You must understand that the existence of this, and she looks off to the side as though trying to recall something, and she says, this Sark gaining into our power is concerning. We would much rather this power pass to you, where we know it will be used for the good of the world. I don't know much about this Sark, but his heart is dark.
He's a monster.
That deception roll is just to not show any sort of strange expression.
Interesting.
But
okay.
I feel like it would still be opposed by insight. I don't know, that's up to you.
Oh.
Then yeah, they would probably notice a awkward look to the side and partial grimace at the mention of being concerned about the Sark.
Yeah.
Skybreaker, you say he is a monster. You understand then why this concerns. I understand that grief and Sabaton potentially have the ability to fall into others' hands. But here now we have the ability to pass on this as we choose.
Yes. I think it's the best decision if you two are willing to give up your essence to do this now. What is the challenge you have?
She holds up her hand as though to say, hear me out, and she says,
single combat. First to land a hit is declared the winner. Not to the death. All it needs to be is a challenge.
And then and Quellists says,
I suggested rock, paper, scissors.
And if we lose?
Then you step away and you step down. If none of you can manage to hit us, then maybe we must find a different way.
I suppose that's fair. If we can't manage to land a hit, then we're probably not the best suited to fill the rest of the task. Shame we don't have a fighter in the group.
Helm steps up to the middle of this dais.
Goreguts.
Okay, so this is how I have this planned because it seems weird to just go up against AC. We are going to do literally just do strength plus proficiency plus your proficiency modifier against each other.
Strength and proficiency.
Whatever your proficiency bonus is, and then roll a strength check.
Do I need to click on... No, wait. Proficiency bonus is already added in a roll, right?
If you are proficient with it, yeah.
I think barbarians are proficient at saving.
Wait. I only have intelligence and wisdom? What?
Oh, you took a level in bits of wizard first.
Well, I still have a 5 in saving throw, so as long as it's not a low roll.
Whoops, that was not supposed to be with advantage, sorry. So, it looks like...
Didn't matter.
Yeah, it does not matter. Okay, Goreguts goes in with the rolling pin?
Oh, I thought we were actually arm wrestling or doing rock, paper, scissors.
Oh, no,
Sure.
it's like straight up like weapons and everything.
I just take the rolling pin and just smack him.
Yeah. Helm
Right on the
was
head.
like swinging a chain at you. And she like whips for your leg. You manage to lift your leg up, and then you bop her right on the head with the rolling pin. And then she immediately stands straight up, and she nods to you, and then Quellists enters the middle.
It's only right that you go. Want to pile all these orders in one spot. Avoiding the temptation to just cast Hold Person while they fight.
I was just gonna Eldritch Blast him.
Yeah.
No.
Quellists pulls out like what literally looks like just a big like constable's baton, and then and he holds it and just kind of gives you a nod, which looks weird when he's like nodding with his chest.
Mm-hmm.
And go ahead and roll. Damn. Yep. Tyrek, you swing the hammer at him?
I suppose I could use the hammer this time, yeah.
It's the hammer or the sword? I'm just trying to think of which. Either way, he whips the baton up at you. You manage to dodge it by kind of like leaning back, and then you lunge in with the hammer. And how do you? Well, yeah. How do you take him down? How do you hit him? Get your hit on him?
You know what? I think I do want it to be with the sword.
Cool.
As his hit goes in, I use it kind of back and out of the way, and then kind of snake my arm and sword around his and tap him on the side of the.
He smiles, and you hear him say,
That was quite the move.
Thank you.
Helm looks at you, and she says,
Thank you for listening, for understanding. I would not have blamed you if you came in here wheeling for a fight. Thank you for allowing us to go out on our own terms. That's really all we've ever wanted.
Pauldron's... God, I am going to keep getting this wrong the longer I look at these stupid wrong... Quellists stands up, and he takes something out of his jacket, and he primes... He like turns a little dial on it, and this light turns on, and he says,
This will give you about 10 minutes.
And then he throws it down the chasm, like over here. And then he goes prostrate. He walks back over to you and goes prostrate, and Helm looks you all over one more time, and then she gets down on her knees and bows her head forward, and then opens up the compartment in the back where you see an amethyst crystal.
Well, we should probably get out of here before something explodes.
What are we to do with the forge?
I'm pretty sure he just hucked an explosive down there to try.
Why don't you go look? Go look for me. There's a reason I kept it black for so long.
No, that's all right.
Oh man.
I guess we'll never know.
Yeah, you guys go to the edge and you look down, and Tyrek, if you were to bring your little glass up, you would see a lot of red.
Nope.
Yes.
Later.
Hey, Goreguts, come back. We're gonna inspect.
I
one of
can't
these
hear
with
you,
Mirrah's spell.
Here.
Just throw a boat in there. We'll see what happens.
It didn't work out last time. I can't hear you.
Throw a boat at it.
So they're effectively gonna take themselves out with all of these.
Are you taking the brain crystals?
Yeah. Goreguts, take your crystal. If you don't, I'm gonna take it.
Why would I ever need one? Can't hear you. I'm running away.
Smokey would shrug and take it for him if he's bolted out of the room.
Nope.
Oh, yeah, if he's gone like that, I one of us should pull it.
I'm not one to dishonor a formal agreement, but if Goreguts is absent, I will take the brain crystal in his absence.
It's okay.
Give like an apology kind of wave towards Helm.
I can take the burden.
Man, Mirrah, make a Constitution save real quick.
You're always making these cons.
Tyrek and Smokey. This is like happening. This is all very quick, right? Make a quick was it insight check or perception checks that we were doing? Everything's fine. Yeah, you guys take the brain crystals.
Everything's fine.
Tyrek, you feel a swell of power around you as you pull the brain crystal from Quellists, and you know that you are bonded now in some form to these Warmasters. If Smokey or Tyrek, if you take the second one, whoever it does, like you feel like an extra little bit of energy. From now on, we're going to be using exploding dice. Does everybody know what that means?
Oh.
Anyone who has a Warmaster aura will be using exploding dice.
I don't know what that means.
If you roll a full like on a D8, if you roll an 8, you're gonna roll an additional D8 anytime that happens.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's a damage die? If it's
damage die, yeah. I guess really ability checks it doesn't make sense for, but yeah, damage die for sure. Well, and healing dice and things like that.
I like the idea of doing a perception check, and it just like this aura of explosion occurs on that net.
My eyes!
My eyes!
Well, you just rebalanced some stuff. Suddenly, spells and things that work with, like, say, a D4 have gained a bigger bonus than the ones that work in large numbers. Kind of. I mean, they're more likely to explode, but they'll gain less benefit from exploding, so.
And that was the brain crystal from Helm?
Yeah, Helm and or Quellists.
Okay.
There was a face there.
Yeah, that's the head that goes with the hand. And there's one of those little crystals. If you guys had got to this room, there was a little spot for you to climb up and like inspect the nose and the eyes and things, and there's a little crystal on one of those eyes.
For a moment there, I was suspecting it was a dead god.
Oh, yeah, interesting. That would have been cool, but no.
Look, you had the right idea.
I will say the forge was probably inspired by that. But no, it was not one of the gods. Yeah, you guys have plenty of time to get out of here and swim well away before there is a massive detonation behind you as the forge is forever destroyed. There's a God, let's see. As this forge is destroyed, you guys are able to, like, there's a shock that kind of runs through your bodies as you're like understanding the significance of the destruction of this forge in a way that probably wouldn't have hit the same had you not been chasing the Warmasters and understood who they were and not been connected with them in the way that you are. And as you swim away, a final stanza rings out to all of you.
It was years later when Diamond was located, but mindlessly seemed and became quite frustrated. They continued their work together, becoming outdated, until Diamond spoke to them again, were they elated. The time to move was soon at hand. Their deaths would serve dual purposes for the land. To make things right for those told sand, and to ensure their revenge on Redstone would be grand.
And that's where we're going to end for tonight.
What?
Whoops.
The implications for Diamond.
Now all we need to kill is Varia.
It all comes back to Varia.
He's just gonna be all super Warmaster with all of the power of all of them, and this whole thing's been a ploy like we suspected it was from the beginning.
Whew, man.
I didn't think we'd actually find the forge itself. That was fun.
Never trusting a magical crystal ever again. Oh, I did not
man.
realize the dragon with shades bursting out of the volcano. Pretty cool.
I did that while Ace's girls were talking.
Okay. That's pretty good.
So, as the actual realistic answer, who do we want Helm's crystal or Helm's power to between Goreguts and Luke? Because we should probably actually distribute them to everybody.
Yeah, I know the joke is that we're doing boss rush, but I have been really looking forward to doing the secret alliance for a while.
That's cool.
And the added bonus of the forge being taken out.